talking.
Can I just
talk at the same time?
Can I just finish what I was saying
Yeah.
so that I don't
6,000 Canadians
so that I don't lose my thought. The point is
more insidious, secret partisan behavior of very liberal-dominated newsrooms working at the supposedly...
The tension on The View reached an explosive peak this week, turning into a spectacle unlike any other. Sparks flew, voices clashed, and the atmosphere was so charged that it felt like the tension could be cut with a knife. This wasn't just an ordinary disagreement. It was a full-blown verbal showdown between Sunny Hostin and Alyssa Farah-Griffin, where neither seemed willing to back down. The intensity left everyone watching in stunned silence. But what exactly happened, and how did things spiral so out of control? It all began seemingly innocently, at least by The View's standards. The panel kicked off their discussion with former President Donald Trump's latest immigration proposal, the controversial gold card.
It was all about immigration from the southern border, and those immigrants or those migrants look a certain way. So it seems to me this was never really just about immigration. It was about a certain type of immigrant. And so now we have this million, these, you know,
Can I just clarify, though?
Which would grant U.S. residency to anyone willing to pay a staggering $5 million. However, as soon as the topic hit the table, the conversation took a dramatic turn. Heated words were exchanged, emotions flared, and before anyone knew it, the debate had escalated into one of the most intense on-air clashes in recent memory. But what was said that made this argument so fiery? Why did it escalate so quickly? And most importantly, did it end with any resolution, or did it only deepen the divide? Let's break down this shocking moment and uncover all the details behind the dramatic confrontation. This wasn't just any ordinary green card. This was being marketed as an exclusive VIP pass to U.S. citizenship reserved solely for the ultra-wealthy. As expected, the topic quickly turned controversial, and the co-hosts wasted no time in voicing their passionate opinions. Sunny Hostin, known for her outspoken and unfiltered views, did not hold back. She slammed the proposal as nothing more than the most expensive golden visa and questioned its fairness. To her, this was yet another scheme designed to cater to the elite while blatantly disregarding the struggles of everyday immigrants who have spent years contributing to the nation. And that's when the real fireworks began.
That's some tone-deaf commentary from Sunny Hostin. I just don't think it's the case that the frustration with illegal immigration that is a bipartisan...
Alyssa Farah-Griffin, the show's conservative voice and a former Trump administration official, immediately pushed back, dismissing Sunny's argument as deeply flawed. She insisted that the term golden visa was misleading and argued that the real issue was being overlooked. People were exploiting the northern border, not just Canadians, but individuals from countries like Mexico and India using it as a diversion.
I don't see it.
Let me just finish this. So wealthy families are overwhelmingly the recipients of school voucher tax credits. I'm not making this up. This has been...
That was the tipping point. The discussion took a sharp, chaotic turn. Sunny, clearly frustrated, attempted to continue making her point, but Alyssa interrupted her again, escalating the tension. With irritation evident in her voice, Sunny pleaded to be allowed to finish without being cut off, her tone growing sharper by the second. The exchange had transformed from a mere debate into one of the most fiery on-air clashes The View had seen in a long time. Not even a simple request for a few uninterrupted seconds to speak seemed to make a difference. The disruptions continued relentlessly, and Alyssa showed no signs of backing down. It was becoming increasingly clear that this wasn't just a heated debate, it was turning into an all-out verbal battleground.
There's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college degrees.
But the stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I'm white, I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not that. What stat are you talking about?
Let me just dissect the
Yes, you can.
Hold on. Calm down, everybody. Just take a breath.
The tension in the studio was so thick you could almost feel it radiating through the screen. Whoopi Goldberg and the other co-hosts started shifting uncomfortably in their seats, exchanging nervous glances as if silently asking one another, "Are we really witnessing this unfold live on air?" The atmosphere was heavy, the stakes were high, and the intensity of the moment left everyone, including the audience, on edge. Then came the breaking point. Sunny, visibly frustrated, threw up her hands in pure exasperation, her patience completely worn thin. Her voice, now louder and sharper, cut through the chaos as she firmly demanded, "Can I finish talking?" Her tone was no longer just irritated, it was commanding, signaling that she had reached her limit. For a brief moment, Alyssa paused, as if contemplating her next move. But even in that silence, the energy between them was like a live wire, buzzing with unresolved tension, waiting to erupt again. And just when it seemed like things couldn't escalate any further, Whoopi stepped in, attempting to regain control before the situation spiraled completely out of hand. But in an almost ironic twist, Alyssa had just interrupted her as well. This time, Whoopi didn't hold back. She turned directly to Alyssa, her expression firm yet composed, and said in a measured but unmistakably authoritative tone, "Hold on a second. Just let me finish this time." The audience collectively gasped. The energy in the studio shifted yet again, but this time it wasn't just tension, it was shock. Had this segment completely derailed? Was this even a discussion anymore? Or had it turned into something else entirely? A full-fledged power struggle playing out on live television? Even as the show cut to a commercial break, the drama didn't seem to settle. Behind the scenes, the unrest was palpable. The reality of The View, and live television in general, is that passionate voices often collide, and when emotions run high, there's rarely enough time for everyone to say everything they want. The result? Moments like this.
I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it. Yeah. I want to know, when did I say, hey, we need another HC next to NASA? Yeah. So when did we start paying for his
SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. You know that he's going to be cutting.
Yeah.
Where discussions turn into high-stakes confrontations that leave both the panel and the audience breathless. When the broadcast resumed, Whoopi wasted no time addressing what had just unfolded. Though her tone was lighthearted, there was no mistaking the weight of her words. She had seen it all on The View before, but even for this show, this moment was unforgettable. The chaos had to be contained. Somehow, the co-hosts needed to regain control. Perhaps realizing that she had pushed the limits, Alyssa offered a partial apology. Her voice, now noticeably softer than before, carried a hint of self-awareness. "I don't mean to talk over anyone, but I understand that things can get heated," she admitted, before adding, "I'm working on interrupting." It was a small concession, but it was clear that she recognized the tension she had fueled. However, Sunny didn't appear entirely convinced by the apology. She remained silent, her expression cold and unwavering, sending a message louder than words. If looks could stop someone in their tracks, hers certainly would. The weight of the moment was undeniable. This wasn't just a one-time disagreement. It was the latest chapter in an ongoing, simmering conflict between the two co-hosts.
Which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot, aren't they? It's just
4 months, Sunny and Alyssa had been locked in a battle of words and ideologies, their clashes playing out live for millions to see. And while The View thrives on lively debates, this particular showdown felt different. Alyssa, a former Trump administration official, had repeatedly found herself at odds with Sunny and other panelists whose political leanings were more liberal. Their heated exchanges had ranged from subtle jabs to outright policy debates, but this time, the confrontation had escalated beyond mere political discourse. It had become personal.
Interestingly enough, there was a court filing that came out, or the order that came out from Judge Chuckin yesterday, right? And one of the things the White House and the DOJ is currently saying is that, Elon has no power. Yeah. Elon is...
What had started as a discussion on immigration had now transformed into something else entirely, a power struggle unfolding in real time. The tension wasn't just about opposing viewpoints. It was about control, dominance, and who would have the final say. Trying to regain her composure, Sunny attempted to steer the conversation back to its core issue. Her voice, now calm but unmistakably icy, cut through the lingering tension. "It seems to me that this was never really just about immigration," she said with measured precision. "It's about a certain type of immigrant." She went on to argue that Trump's immigration policies weren't just about border security or reform. They were deliberately targeting specific groups based on their race and ethnicity rather than addressing immigration as a whole. It was a sharp critique, one that struck at the heart of the debate. But Alyssa wasn't done yet. Before Sunny could fully elaborate, Alyssa jumped in once more. "Could I just explain?" she interjected. This time, Sunny made no effort to mask her frustration. Her expression hardened even further, and the annoyance in her eyes spoke volumes. The battle for the spotlight wasn't over yet, and the air in the studio remained thick with unresolved tension. "Can I wrap up?" With a tone that was unarguable, she snapped. Although Alyssa stopped talking, the harm had already been done. By this time, even Whoopi, who typically serves as a mediator, appeared worn out. She raised her hands in frustration and said,
Require teachers to have training, require teachers to have licensing, require participating in private schools.
If I may get in, just to make it a conversation.
But because I have children and because I looked at
I went to public school. I believe you got to go to private school.
There is zero statistical
You got to go to
significance.
private school.
Because nobody can figure out what's being said here right now. No,
"I want someone to decide about immigration." The crowd cheered her vehement comments and sympathized with her rage, but the cheers didn't reduce the tension on set. In fact, they seemed to make it worse. Refusing to participate further, Sunny folded her arms and sagged back in her chair. Though she was never given the chance, Alyssa seemed ready to defend herself. The audience was left wondering whether this altercation had escalated to the point of no return and what the potential consequences would be when the show eventually moved on to another commercial break. It wasn't the end of the drama. According to backstage whispers, the producers intervened to defuse the situation after the action got out of control during the commercial break. It's easy to infer that this wasn't just another day at The View, even though the specifics are yet unknown. Alyssa and Sunny's conflict is not only personal but also political, and it only gets worse. Fans posted their opinions on social media as the credits rolled, with many describing the episode as one of the most dramatic in recent memory. "Oh, Elon is powerless. That's not how Elon is behaving." Sunny Hostin appears to be the center of attention these days, despite her lengthy history of involvement in scandal. If Sunny's heated argument with Elisa Farrah Griffin on The View wasn't enough to keep people interested, her history of audacious claims and spectacular headlines is undoubtedly stoking the flames. Let's face it, Sunny's name has become synonymous with drama, whether it be off-screen gossip or on-screen arguments. However, how did we get here? Let's examine the complex web of scandals that have surrounded Sunny for a long time, including some shocking claims that may cause you to reevaluate everything you believe to be true about her. No, it hasn't gotten any less. You have to go back to Sunny Hostin's lengthy history of igniting controversy with her strong beliefs in order to truly comprehend her divisive presence.
He's not going to say that J.D. Vance is a successor because he thinks he's his own successor.
But doesn't that mean that Obama can run also?
Well, you would think so because part of the resolution says no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than 3 times.
Throughout her time on The View, her candor and unyielding stance have caused viewers to split on several occasions. Sunny is who she is, regardless of what you think of her. However, she has also been in hot water a lot because of that same trait. For instance, during one of the show's contentious debates regarding Donald Trump's election victories, she made her famous comments regarding voter demographics. Viewers were outraged by her claim that Trump's election was mostly the result of white women without college degrees, believing it to be condescending and polarizing. Even some of Sunny's co-hosts appeared visibly uneasy, and social media was incensed. Had Sunny, however, given up? Obviously not. She even asserted her points more forcefully in one episode, saying, "It's not just about economics. The core of it is identity. Who feels like they belong, and who doesn't are the main concerns." Some criticized her for oversimplifying a difficult subject, while others praised her for confronting what they perceived to be an uncomfortable reality. The criticism was immediate and unrelenting, with opponents accusing her of offending sizable portions of the crowd. In contrast, Sunny appeared unconcerned and even adopted a more proactive approach in later episodes.
I've been for 8 years for doing it, pointing out that it's the job of the media to take side.
It's interesting to see how Sunny's reputation has both risen and deteriorated as a result of her unrepentant behavior. Her enemies call her divisive and tone-deaf, while her admirers applaud her for speaking truth to power. Producers appear to view her as a double-edged blade behind the scenes. One source claims that she is a ratings magnet, but at what price? Going too far and offending the show's larger audience is always a possibility. However, part of what makes Sunny so fascinating to watch is her willingness to take on challenging subjects head-on. She is undoubtedly a strong force, regardless of whether she is admired or despised. However, when reports of purported hostility between Sunny and her co-hosts started to circulate, even her most devoted followers were taken by surprise. Although arguments on The View are nothing new, the tales of internal conflict have given the usually explosive dynamic of the show a new level of interest. There have been difficult times on and off the air, according to sources, as Sunny's combative manner has occasionally clashed with co-host Sarah Haynes' more relaxed style. Then there is Whoopi Goldberg, who seemed to have grown tired of mediating the conflict despite her best efforts. Like her, Sunny is always prepared to defend herself from criticism. She has, however, also become a lightning rod for charges of bigotry and even intolerance due to her determination to voice her opinions. Sunny has faced criticism throughout the years for drawing unwarranted generalizations about a wide range of groups, especially when it comes to issues like gender and ethnicity. On a particularly contentious episode of The View, for example, Sunny implied that Latino people who supported Trump were swayed by what she called sexism and misogyny in their culture. The remark not only incited controversy, but also sparked a heated argument with Alyssa Farah Griffin, who claimed that Sunny's viewpoint was simplistic and failed to take into account the nuanced aspects of voter behavior. As the two paced back and forth, Sunny unwilling to move, Alyssa raised her hands in exasperation. You could feel the stress seeping through the screen at that precise moment. Indeed, one of the biggest RICO cases ever filed in New York involves over 180 defendants, including Sunny Hostin. Sunny Hostin was charged with taking part in a fraud operation that charged insurance companies for unneeded medical procedures and false claims. Two of his victims allegedly received basic medical care after low-impact car accidents before having procedures that the lawsuit alleges were totally unnecessary.